TitleMatchNetwork.com.
What are your memories of your first trip to Japan?
Oh, Lord. First trip to Japan. I just remember going over. I'm trying to think who was on. Oh, I know who was on it. We went over, and this was, I left, when I went from Florida, because I started in Atlanta. Actually, I started in Charlotte, and then they sent me to Atlanta for Ole Anderson for 9 months. Then I went to Kansas City for 9 months, and from Kansas City I went to Tampa and Dusty. And one day, I think it was, what was it, Terry or Dory Funk called me, wanted to know if I would be interested in going to Japan on a 3-week tour. Oh, well, yeah, but I don't want to lose, this. Well, they said you can come back. Well, okay, I'll go. And I don't know, I don't know anybody, and I don't know who's going to be there. Just go. Okay. Well, my brother said, just go. You have fun. Everybody has fun. Well, I go over, and the first person that I get off, and you're wandering through the, trying to get through the gates and stuff to going through the border and then here comes Brody. Wow, hell, Brody. Now I got Brody, and I'd met Brody in Kansas City with all the other goofballs, and, had a lot of fun. And Brody was a star over there at the time, so once I locked up with him, it was like, well, shit. We were just gone. We used to have, we had a lot of fun over there. Japan was, Brody used to say, no, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Just tell them it sucks, because I want to come over here and then you won't be able to come. Tell them it sucks. So I used to always tell them it sucked over there, but it was great, because you could go. They picked you up at the hotel at, let's say, if you're close or you didn't have to travel, they'd pick you up at 5 o'clock. They'd take you to the building. Afterwards, they'd bring you back, tell you to be in the lobby an hour later. You'd go out. Somebody from the town would be, paying for everybody to eat and have beer, and you'd sit and laugh and giggle with everybody. It was a great time,
Yeah. Memories of teaming up with Terry Gordy in Japan.
Oh, Gordy, yeah. I remember that we were on a tag team tournament, and Gordy and I ended up in the main event against Abdullah the Butcher and this Sheik.
Was it the Sheik? The original Sheik?
No. Another Sheik.
Tiger Jeet Singh?
Yeah, Tiger.
Okay.
It was Tiger, yeah. And so we were the main event, or the thing with those two, and we, obviously they went over, but we had a lot of fun. Terry Gordy and I, we met in Atlanta my first time, with the Freebirds and Buddy and Michael, and of course we're about the same age. I was a little older than they were, but they were older than I was in the business.
Yeah.
So we fell in right away.
Memories, I saw that you wrestled Chavo Guerrero on a big Superdome show for Bill Watts once on one of his big shows. Chavo.
Old Man Chavo?
Old Man Chavo.
Senior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember about wrestling Chavo? He was pretty cutting edge for that time. With his high
Chavo
flying.
was great.
Yeah.
I had, Chavo and I always got along. He was he's crazy. I mean, he's a crazy Mexican. Jeez, what else can I say? He was always fun, I got along with him well. He's still alive. I don't know if I haven't talked to him in a while. I think the last time I might have talked to him was somewhere. Not when Eddie died. There's Chavo and Eddie and Mondo and Hector. And Hector I've seen down in Florida at different times, and I think I talked to Chavo one time when Chavo Jr. and not Hector, but Eddie were running around. Oh, Chavo was on the road. Chavo Sr. was on the road with Eddie back with the WWF. I saw him one time when they came into Duluth, Minnesota, and we always had a good time. We laughed and giggled about. We're on the tour, and if I'm not mistaken, it was the tour that David Von Erich died on. Chavo was on it, so was
Brody?
No. Well, Brody was on it, but the guy he's out of Florida. Okay, I was just talking with Gary Hart about it earlier. Anyway, the story is that Chavo went out and bought this big boom box, and it had a Mr. Microphone, right? Every night every night everybody got drunk. He'd go out and, eat and drink. But he always had Mr. Microphone, and they'd come back to the hotels, and then he'd start singing on this Mr. Microphone, and it went right through, this boom box. Well, this is like 5 years before that kind of stuff comes to the States. And, oh, God. Every night the hotel would be banging on his door, hey, no, Mr. Microphone, no more, no, stop. Every night he'd be singing. He'd get kicked out of the hotel. It was like, yeah, it was funny.
Memories of matches with Roddy Piper.
I never really worked with Roddy Piper. I was never in the ring with Roddy Piper. Although, I was just telling you about Chavo,
yes,
and Dick Slater was the name I couldn't remember. Those two would get drunk together and sing on Mr. Microphone. Well, Roddy Piper was on that same tour. And on that tour, Piper, he'd go out and they, of course, everybody, again, drinking too much, the evils of the alcohol. But he was out there one night, and a taxi cab came by, and he dropped an elbow on the taxi cab as it went by. And the taxi cab came, and boom, he landed in jail over dropping elbows on a taxi cab, and they had to go get him the next morning, and blah, blah, blah. All this stuff is just unbelievable crap that went on. That was, I think, that same tour. It was, Brody was there, and Chavo, and all these guys were there, and Dickie Slater. I don't know, we had been out with, when you go out over there, usually it's when somebody's taking you out, a sponsor, someone, they're taking you to, you eat and then you drink all night long and, have a good time. And we came back, and Dick Slater was in his room, and I don't know if he had pissed off the guy, the sponsor, or, made him embarrass the guy or whatever. You know how the Japanese are. They're all about face and all this, at least back in those days. I don't know what they're like anymore. But my point comes to is that, Brody and I are walking up down the hall. Of course, we're half drunk too. And we come to Slater's door. And I don't know if we knock on it. He don't come. Brody stepped back and he kicked that door.
Wow.
And the door just fell over. The whole frame fell out and just fell in. Kaboof. We looked at each other like, oh shit! And we ran down the hall and went in his room and slammed the door. And we were quiet. Shh. And of course, everybody was out there like, the next day we found out that when he kicked that door, the doorknob shot across the room, hit the other wall, the door fell in. Slater was scared to death that the mafia was coming to get him over there. Oh, God, it was ridiculous. But it was funny.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.